Welcome to Love to See It, a podcast about the great Colton Underwood backlash of 2026, off screen Traitors drama, and the return of Taylor Frankie Paul to social media.
I mean, my God, between the Traitors and the wider Bachelor franchise and their overlaps, we just have a lot to discuss. And we realized it had been a while since we had done a news and gossip episode. So we
Yeah.
gotta.
Let's try to catch up. But first, a little housekeeping. Something new and exciting this week. Over on Substack, we published a reader survey for Rich Text, and we would really appreciate if you took a few minutes to fill out the survey, or maybe think of it as a quiz. Quizzes are fun.
It's fun.
They help you express yourself. But really, we've never done any sort of reader feedback in an organized way like this. And we're really excited to learn more about what people want and shape the next step of rich text. So you can find that survey at the link in our at Claire and Emma pod Instagram bio or at claireandemma.substack.com.
And speaking of rich text, we recently published an episode talking about the right wing backlash towards liberal white women specifically, just analyzing what is behind that and what we can take away from that anger. And you can find that discussion also at claireandemma.substack.com.
All right, so let's dive in. Some new gossip, news and gossip arose since we started planning this episode. It's been just honestly just a really brutal and horrific weekend of news in the US. And we have both been following what's happening in Minnesota and the Twin Cities very closely, like I think pretty much everyone now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And obviously, it's just been a really painful, really upsetting time for, I think, most people in this country. And we are all trying to grapple with how to take action, how to resist the atrocities being committed by ICE in the false name of American safety. And I think it's very easy to feel super helpless. And something that I noticed, which did give me a little bit of hope, is that a lot of public figures in the reality TV space have been speaking up.
yeah, it does feel like this weekend was maybe a bit of a turning point in the public awareness and attitudes around what's been unfolding with immigration
Obviously, the
enforcement.
murder of Alex Preddy, a 37-year-old ICU nurse in Minneapolis over the weekend, set off a lot of this latest wave of coverage and public outrage, as it should.
Yeah, and as people who follow reality TV very closely, one thing that I think we both noticed very quickly was that a lot of reality TV people that we follow were posting about politics in a way that we almost never see. I saw people who I'd never seen post anything political, posting long emotional screeds about what had happened, posting defund ICE carousels. I think that there is a moment that we've been building towards where a lot of people who have felt the luxury of checking out or feeling like this isn't our arena, this isn't what we post about, um, we're having to all take notice and sort of recognize that if normal people don't start calling it out and putting their foot down, that nothing's going to change. And we're seeing a lot of public figures have that realization and realize that it's time to speak up.
Absolutely. And I also think that, we're all aware as people who consume content from influencers, reality TV figures, that often these audiences really span political outlooks. And so there can be a very high cost, truly, for people who make their living on social media platforms to speak up about a political issue. And so I guess I just felt like I wanted to give some flowers, virtual flowers,
Yeah.
to some of the people that we have observed speaking up. And this is a non exhaustive list. Just want to make that really clear. If there's someone that we miss in this long list, these are just people that we personally observed over the last few days speaking up, but I've seen posts from people like Leslie Fema, Alex Godin, Chase McWhorter from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Carolyn Weiger from Traitors, a lot of the Love is Blind Minneapolis crew, which makes a lot of sense. Monica Danis, Madison Ericiello,
Joey and Sarah.
Joey and Sarah. I saw Danielle and Taylor Hastings, who I have not seen be political at all, post a joint video today. A lot of Bachelor Nation people, Charity Lawson, Rachel Recchia, Rachel Lindsay, of course, Bailey Brown, Jen Tran, Astrid Wendt, Joey Grozade and Kelsey Anderson, Danielle Maltby, Caitlin Bristow, Jill Chin, Natasha Parker, Susie Evans, Katie Bigger, Serena Pitt, Rodney Matthews, Olivia Caridi, Greg Grippo, Thomas Jacobs, and Becca Kufrin, Michelle Young, of course, our another Minnesota Bachelorette, Justin Glaze, Anna Redman, Kaylin Bell, Kyle
Yeah.
Howard, Jubilee Sharp, Andrew Spencer, Rachel Nance, Jason Tardik, Sarah Heron.
I noticed that one of the guys I follow for the upcoming season, Joe Cirallo, who I think is the guy that like goes on TV and talks about sports betting as a job.
Oh,
And I was like, huh? He was like, where's the pro-life crowd on this one? Like, this is ridiculous. And I was like, okay,
okay, Joe.
I
I'm
appreciate
paying
this.
attention. Also, I've
Yeah.
noticed a bunch of Bravo celebrities speaking up really strongly, like Stassi Schroeder, Kyle Cook, Amanda Batula, Luke Gulbranson,
Paige DeSorbo.
Paige DeSorbo. Yeah, obviously I follow the Summer House crew.
Yeah, let's check in on the Summer House
Yeah,
people.
you know.
Yeah, and yeah, we don't follow everyone on reality TV, but these are just people that popped into our feeds. I saw Ayana from Love Is Blind Chicago has been posting about it. You know, Kaylin Bell wrote like a long screed, and I was like, I never see her
Yeah.
really posting about politics.
I knew that she and Dean skewed more liberal, but it was really nice to see her speak out really forcefully.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, a few people from Love is Blind DC, including I saw Alex Bird, Monica Davis. I saw Layla Taylor from Secret
Mhm.
Lives of Mormon Wives posted. Even Jesse from Secret Lives posted a photo of the general strike that was happening in Minneapolis, which I
Mhm.
found pretty interesting. Yeah, it's been a
Yeah.
pretty wide group of people
Yeah.
saying
And
something.
Becca, we know Becca's politics, and we have for a long time. That
Becca
was a big
Kufrin.
big part of how Becca Kufrin's season played out. But she actually she's been posting a ton. She posted a video saying that she actually canceled her baby moon. She's about 7 months pregnant, I think, so that instead she could go home to Minnesota from where she and Thomas live in California to just like do mutual aid basically and help her family be involved with what's going
Wow.
on.
That makes me so emotional and just I don't know, as someone who has a lot of family and family friends in God, I'm getting emotional. In Minneapolis, it's just been really wild to witness from afar what's happening there. And I've been truly so inspired by all of the on the ground work that
Yeah.
people are doing and the way that those communities have come together. And it's just been, there's so little to feel hopeful about right now, but like seeing these mass movements, seeing people get involved in whatever way that they can, whether that's being on the ground, whether that's donating, whether that's calling your representatives. Like, I think it's just been really powerful. And I
Yeah.
obviously, you know, posting on the internet can only go so far, but I do think one thing that it can do is give other people permission to speak up, give other
Mhm.
people ideas of ways that they can get involved maybe for the first time and just create that little bit of community in a moment that can feel so isolating and so painful.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think especially with, as you said, like reality TV stars and influencers in this sort of bucket, some of them have ventured into politics before, like people like Rachel Lindsay,
Right,
have
of
made
course.
politics a big part of their platforms, but a lot of them have not, because as you said, it does cost them. But what that does mean is when we see it breaking through with these people, when we see them posting and being outraged, that means that they are making their normie followers feel more like, again, like they have that permission to question their constructed ideas about what's going on, to question whether they can support it or stay silent anymore. And that is really powerful. Like sometimes it's frustrating. It's like, why didn't you say something before? But the fact that people who have felt like they could not say anything or didn't need to or didn't care to, the fact that they're saying something now means that we could be at a very powerful moment where the Overton window is shifting, where the balance is tipping, and I hope that we can take advantage of that. Is this purely like this doesn't feel like it's about a reality TV show, what we're talking about right now? If you're new here, we've always been a very political show since our first episodes in like 2015. And this is one of those moments where you really see how inescapable politics is in every space, including the world of reality TV. Nothing can be purely escapist. Escapism exists only in a world where we're safe enough to even enjoy a reality TV show. And even when we are enjoying that escapism, there are messages embedded in that entertainment about what our values are. And these moments don't happen very often where there's a big breakthrough of this discourse into the world of reality TV, but it's just kind of making really legible something that's always there. And we're hoping that it's going to be part of a moment of change. And all our voices, really matter right now.
Yeah.
We can all be involved. Minnesota is really inspiring me also. I have to say it's been like a very weird emotional thing watching it, like the grief and like the anger and also the just like the humanity that we're seeing from the people standing up and saying you can't do this in our community has been really inspiring and heartening.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So, moving on to our next bit of gossip.
Look, we hold lots of tones at the same time on this show. That is
Yeah.
that is honestly being American right now. Like,
Yeah.
we
Wiping
have
away
to
the
hold it all.
tears and then turning to the next thing. Yeah, let's talk about the Traitors a little bit. The Traitors has had some intense discourse happening since the last episode, just half a week ago on Thursday. A lot has happened. The Colton backlash is really reaching a fever pitch, and I think we wanted to get into a little bit more of the discourse around that. One thing that has happened is that Demi Burnett, who was on Colton's season and has been part of Bachelor Nation and has a big platform, she posted a video on social media calling out Traitors production for casting Colton
Yeah,
to
this was
begin
this
with.
was a little while ago. I've seen it floating around for
Yeah,
a bit.
exactly. This is more just like catching us up because it's
Yes,
part of,
yes.
I think, the conversation that's
Absolutely.
unfolding.
Absolutely. And she basically went through like all of the information about Colton's stalking of Cassie Randolph.
Yeah. News reports about the restraining order that Cassie was granted, the allegations that were made. She, highlights all these details, that he put a tracking device on her car, that he was seen in her alley one night by her brother, that he sent anonymous harassing texts, including to himself. He later admitted that he sent them, according to this coverage. She also like reads some of the texts that were reported he sent to Cassie, which are indeed quite alarming. So we've talked about this before, like every time he's cast on a show, but if you've never really looked into the details or have forgotten, it's bad, right? So she posted this video. She has a big platform in the reality TV space, and it's been, I think, just like I'm seeing it float up more and more, like it's
Yeah,
circulating.
it sort of provided like a base layer, I think, given that the Traitors audience is very wide, a lot of people were not familiar like we were in
Right.
Bachelor Nation about this specific history and how disturbing what Colton did really was. And I mean, that is why we've said from jump, like, we would prefer if Colton was not cast on a show like The Traitors.
Yeah.
So,
Why is he
yeah,
still getting cast on shows? That's what we
it's
always come
just not
back to. Like,
necessary.
just live a private life. There's
Live a
no need.
great private life. Like, you're
Right.
thriving. No one is entitled to a platform on reality television. And I
Yeah.
also think that inevitably, if he is going to continue to put himself up for jobs like this, then I do think he needs to be prepared to really grapple with the inevitable backlash that is going to come. And I think something that we've seen is that he doesn't, at least from what we've seen, does not seem quite able to do that or willing to do that.
Yeah. I know a lot of people were frustrated also to see that he spoke to Entertainment Weekly about a week and a half ago, and they noted at the outset of the interview that a condition of the interview was that they were not allowed to ask any questions regarding Cassie. And I think that I can understand why he might think that's in the past,
I'm
but
certainly
it
any
only
publicist would advise that. Like, I'm not surprised to hear that. But yeah, it just does betray a misunderstanding, right? Like, of the fact that there is a way to like get around this
right.
history,
It
and
only
there
fuels the sense
isn't.
that there is perhaps a lack of full accountability, that,
Right.
like, these things were alleged to have happened, she received the restraining order, and instead of maybe taking accountability, there's going to be an attempt to kind of brush it under the rug. That is not going to actually help people who are viewers and who are concerned about this feel like it's time for you to get more of their attention, right? The backlash against him has just like also been fueled, as we've said, by his demeanor on the show, which I think people find really off putting.
Right. It's like you did all of these really bad things, and then also you're just being a dick. It's not going to help your case.
It's not. I just truly like. I keep wanting to stop and being like, what was the purpose? Like, what good was served by casting this person? Why was he cast on that virginity dating show that no one watched? Why was he cast on this? Why did they make a reality series about him coming out? Like, the stalking case was barely. It was still very recent memory at that point. Like, I just become inarticulate. I don't understand why there's a need to keep like giving contracts and attention, but this is where we are.
There's
He's on the
not.
show. They cast
There's
Michael
not.
Rappaport on the show. Why are
Right.
these people on the show? Like, so people are not fans, and like, there's more. We're seeing a lot of social media posts that are harshly worded. Um, so I will say after Demi posted this video about Colton, she did post that he blocked her. He also at
Predictable.
some point added human being to the end of his Instagram
I
bio.
was wondering if that had happened after what we're going to talk about next, which is
Quite
that the
possibly.
Traitors released a statement on their like official Instagram on Saturday asking fans not to cyberbully the cast. And I just want to be clear, like, I too do not support cyberbullying anyone.
Yeah.
Like, baseline, not pro.
Yeah, I would say our position is anti cyberbullying. I am pro critiquing people
Yes,
being given certain platforms
not
when
the
they
same
have
thing.
public records of, you know,
Stalking.
bigotry or stalking or, domestic violence, like all these things that we have sometimes seen people being cast with these things in their past. I'm very critical of that. I think that that is okay. I think it's valid to criticize who is being given a platform and who is given access to other people in the
Yes.
cast. That doesn't mean we slide into their DMs to tell them to, harm themselves, for example, which we know almost everyone who goes on reality TV receives floods of comments like this, and we don't agree with that.
Right. Just
That's bad.
to be clear. So the text of this statement is as follows. We are committed to making our casts feel safe, respected, and supported on screen and off. The cast of the Traitors are real people, and what happens in the game should never lead to cyberbullying or harassment. Correct. There's a difference between discussing a show and targeting individuals. Let's not ruin the passion for this show with unwarranted negativity and personal attacks. We appreciate your support. And many people in the audience seemed to read this statement. I think I just was not paying enough attention because I was just like, oh, this seems like you know,
Yeah.
The Bachelor's made many similar statements during like
Yeah.
almost every run of the show, right?
Yeah.
Paradise, The Bachelor, etc.
But it often
Um,
is about one or two specific people.
yes, and I think that's what I'm saying. This is just
Yeah.
me like not paying attention, but a lot of people read this as specifically maybe on the part of the show trying to tamp down criticism of Colton.
Yeah, pretty much every reaction that I saw, press coverage, social media responses explicitly connected this to Colton. It was like they're making this after people became upset about Colton. They are trying to protect Colton. They're trying to tell people to lay off Colton. It's possible that, this is simply the most publicly visible backlash, and other contestants have also been struggling and needing support. But a lot of people are connecting it to that for good reason, which is that he has been kind of, I think even Michael Rappaport has gotten less public backlash than Colton at this point, and
Yeah, which
he sucks too. I stand by that.
same.
But I think that he, like a lot of people, see the timing of like the way that this wave of backlash against Colton was building, and then this statement comes out. Colton adds human being to his Instagram bio at some point, and maybe it was always there. To be honest, I don't follow Colton on Instagram, so I'm relying on other people
Neither do
to say
I.
that it's
Yeah.
fresh. To be clear, allegedly, he added it recently. So I think that a lot of viewers, quite fairly, felt that this was tied to the criticism of Colton. Lisa Rinna, who is currently up against him in the game, like they are really going at each other. She initially was kind of feeding into it a little bit after their
Because Lisa's a
feud kind of became
professional.
public.
Lisa's
Yeah,
like, it's all in good fun. I'm going to pick a public fight a little bit.
right. Because people were posting memes of her on Real Housewives and being like, this is what she could do if she was really coming for you. She was saying, like, yeah, like, I just wasn't doing that because no one was coming at me. But I
Just
could,
wait.
like, if someone's coming at me, I can play dirty like that. Like, maybe I could make a comment like, let's talk about your history of stalking Colton. She tweeted something or posted something to that effect, right? Having a little fun with how she could use his dirty laundry against him. And then clearly felt compelled to tell people to back off, because then she posted a video telling viewers basically, chill out, leave him alone. Colton is just like my nemesis on the show. We're fine. She said, it's come to my attention that my post that I responded to in my housewife mode is taking on a life of its own, and it's causing real problems for Colton. And I do not want this because Colton and I are great. He was a great and is a great nemesis for me on the show, in the game. Now, as you know, if you ask me to be a housewife, I'll bring it to you, right? That's what I was doing, all in the name of the game. She's like, watch it like a sporting event, watch it like a game. And I do agree with that. I do think that there is like, even in a game though, even in a sporting event, if you think that someone is playing dirty, or if you know that they were accused of something really awful in their personal life, that is going to affect how you view that person. And I think that it is challenging with these social games sometimes to separate what's just part of the game and what's just part of the drama, and what is like a real problem. What is a real
Yeah.
sign of poor character or truly over the line behavior? And I think people are blending certain things with Colton. They don't like the way he's playing the game. And then there's this really bad thing that he allegedly did a few years ago.
Right. And it's all kind of getting blended into this one soup.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a mess. I mean, and it's
Yeah.
the same with critiquing people for cyberbullying. Like, okay, what do you mean by that? There are people doing what I think is very fair, which is public, harsh criticism of someone's casting or someone's actions. Like, I think that is completely fair game. You are a public figure. You need to be able to accept criticism, and some of that criticism may be unpleasant for you.
Yeah.
That's just part of it. Also, having just been in this world for a long time, we do know that people almost always cross a line
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
end up
absolutely.
acting in incredibly vile ways towards people. And even if someone has done something really unacceptable or vile in the past, it does not give you permission to add more bile into the world, add more hatred into the
Yeah.
world. You know, it's in the same way that we criticize people who were like, actually, it was great that Michael Rappaport did homophobia towards Colton because Colton's a bad
Yeah.
person. It's like that. No, that line of thinking does not jive for me.
Yeah, that doesn't take us anywhere good. Yeah, I agree with that. I think, like, what I do come back to, though, is don't put out a statement telling people not to cyberbully the cast, AKA Colton. Don't cast him. Like, don't cast
Well,
someone
that would
who
have
is
been the
going to
easiest way to avoid a lot of this, wouldn't it, Claire?
I think it would. Like, we always see certain issues with this, but last season we did not see this level of backlash against anyone.
Correct.
We
No,
just didn't.
I think the easiest thing to have done would have been to not cast Colton or Michael Rappaport.
I agree. They made those choices with the full information, like every part of their troubling backgrounds or histories of troubling comments are very public, have been reported on, are widely known. They made the choice to cast these people, and now they are reaping the questionable benefits, which is a lot of people talking about the show in this very noxious and personal and maybe even cyberbullying way. That's not to justify people, again, like sliding into people's DMs and saying they should harm themselves or whatever form the cyberbullying is taking. But it is to say that a lot of anger and frustration and criticism is warranted. And it's because of the casting choices they made.
Absolutely. On that note, we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we have some more news about the Traitors. And then we'll also dive into some more shit that Mel has been talking about Cindy. Yes, he's still at it, people. It's still happening.
And we're back. So before we get into like Bachelor and Golden Bachelor and like a little Love is Blind stuff, we do want to talk about Ron and his post Traitors journey.
Yeah, of
Um,
course, a bunch of things came out after we had already taped
yeah.
our last Traitors recap because, of course, we tape a few hours before the episode airs.
Yeah,
And
this is one
then
thing that I kind of miss about how we used to tape the morning after The Bachelor airs, because then you could talk about
the
the
discourse.
discourse, and we do miss the discourse, but we can get to it now. We're circling back. Ron revealed, I believe on Threads, that he got into the process to be diagnosed with autism after going on the Traitors and really just like watching himself on the show, seeing the reactions that he was getting from other people in the cast, maybe the audience. Like he's like, after watching that, I thought maybe I should look into this. He wrote, the way I felt I wasn't being comprehended or understood while I thought I was being direct, and seeing some of my own mannerisms made me start the process of going to get a
I
diagnosis.
found this super moving. And there were a
Yeah.
lot of people I saw who are on the autism spectrum themselves who were messaging him saying, like, I see pieces of myself in you
Yeah.
and your reactions. And there were just some really beautiful conversations that I witnessed over on Threads.
And then he did update saying that he has been diagnosed with
Yeah.
autism following that process. Um, what's interesting also to me is that his older son, Malcolm, has autism. And so he has been familiar with autism. He's been an outspoken ally. He's talked about it on stage. But he said he never suspected before the show that he also was on the spectrum. And so it's really kind of like almost wild to think of, but it's not uncommon really because you grow
No.
up in a time when maybe it wasn't as common to get those assessments. You don't really consider yourself to be, you're like, I'm already an adult, I'm functional. You don't even think about it. And then to have that prompt to go, like, seeing those social interactions not playing out the way that you would think they would,
Yeah,
in
and then
such a
to
big
like
way.
unlock this whole like greater understanding of this whole piece of yourself. I assume there's like pain in going through that process, but also like a relief and like just a I don't know that sense of like greater self discovery. I think is always really really useful, and I was just very moved by this whole thing. He
Yeah.
also hinted in some Threads posts that as we I think had definitely started to assume after the last episode that something more clearly did take place with Dorinda, either off camera or just or on camera, and it was cut. he basically claimed that she made some, like, deeply personal comments towards him that weren't included in the final cut because they weren't relevant to gameplay, and so it appeared to the audience like he was just mad at Dorinda out of nowhere, which yes, it did because we had no
Yeah.
context, and at least the first interaction was just deeply confusing.
Yeah. And like honestly, I it makes me kind of upset at how the show was edited because
Same.
that to show like a black man blowing up at a white woman out of nowhere and giving absolutely no context as to why that might be happening, I think really plays into certain like, and we were just sort of like, that does seem extreme. Like, why can't she ask a question about your family? That's kind of over the top. It seems unnecessary. Like, there's no attempt to give context in the edit to why the two of them were already at odds. And I think that's really can be really damaging.
Yeah, I think that was a real error on the part of the show, and it also just from, like, a understanding plot perspective as a viewer, it was very confusing.
Confusing. Yeah. And just because a comment isn't about gameplay doesn't mean it's not relevant to gameplay if it creates a huge tension between two of the players.
Exactly. So
I know you
I
have to
am
make your
curious
decisions, but like,
I am curious if more on this is going to come out, like, at the
yeah,
reunion, because there does seem to be a lot that the cast is holding back and ready to spill
yeah.
at the reunion.
He seems to be biding his time, but in the post, I think this comes up when he sees a fan suggestion that Dorinda was maybe like other people on the show demonstrating unconscious bias towards him. And he said in his post that she had conscious bias. And basically, it was like she said such
Oof.
terrible things to me.
Jesus.
Yeah. So that sounds really shocking. I really hope to hear more details about what happened at the
Me
reunion. And I
too.
wish they would show these things.
I know.
Like,
Also interesting to note that he and Rinna are, like, in a great place. Like, she's been commenting on his post, and he's like, "Thank you, Rinna, for, like, never making it personal and just being, like, so much fun to play the game with."
yeah.
So it seems
I,
like Rinna has the ability to, like, separate her big moments, even when she speaks maybe harshly towards someone, from, like, the personal.
it's all part of being an entertainer
Yeah.
for her. Yeah. It's part of the gameplay. This is my first time like really spending time with Lisa Rinna because I'm not a housewives person. And I'm a fan.
She's
Like, I
so
get
fun. She's really fun. She's really fun to watch.
it. All right. Well, let's move on from the Traitors because we have to talk a little bit about the Golden Bachelor, the post-show like
I'm
PR battle
tired.
that will not stop being
I'm so
waged.
tired, and I'm just gonna need you to explain this one to me,
Like,
Claire.
I thought there had been some sort of mutual retreat or a
Me
peace
too.
deal. Like, no, they're still in the trenches. So Mel and Peg went on She's All Batch last week and made some wild comments, especially Mel. To the point that the way that I was prompted to listen to another Mel interview, which I try to avoid at this point, is that I saw it reported on in like the news. He is still saying all the same stuff in the same tone. He is very defensive. He's defensive about every single thing that every podcaster has said, about everything that Cindy has said.
Cool, cool.
The stuff he said on the sports podcast before filming was a story about a story of how he learned about the age range from the producers. So, like, he did know by the time he got cast that they would be over 60. And he was just like telling everyone how he learned about that. I'm like, okay, Mel, we
And how he was
understand.
like, "You better not cast anyone who is 61 and has had a hip replacement, because that's disgusting."
It's disgusting. But he's like, "It's fine. I don't mind the criticism. I've been in adversarial positions my whole life. I'm a lawyer. I played football. I've been critiqued
God.
my whole life." He is for someone who says he has been critiqued his whole life, he comes off as incredibly thin-skinned.
Well, that's the thing. I'm like, usually people who are just good at being in adversarial positions just take it. They just
Just
move it
take
right
it. You're
along.
still banging on about and you're pursuing lines of argument that, like, they've already failed before the jury. So, like, it's time for you to try a new theory of the case. Even, like, little things come up, like, "Oh, people said that my responses to questions were too monosyllabic," but that's just because people were asking bad questions. And I'm like, "Oh, so you're saying that,
Oh,
like, Peg's daughter was asking you bad questions? Are you insulting Peg's daughter now? Like, it's her fault that you didn't say more interesting things?"
well, I think the real takeaway here is that nothing is his fault.
Nothing is his fault. He again advances the line of argument that Cindy quit, clearly in a derogatory tone. She just didn't want to be exposed as not being the one, is another thing he says.
Exposed. No, no, Mel, she
Exposed.
was done.
She was aware that and she
Right,
also,
she
like,
realized. She was like,
realized you
"I'm
weren't the
not,"
one.
she's like, "I'm not the one for you. You're not the one for me. I'm gonna move it along."
He also says he already knew it was Peg at that point, which he has said before, but
Yes.
he gives a little more insight. He goes on a lot about how he thought she was 35 when he first saw her, and she looked so young. She was the only one who wore a bikini at the pool party before
And that
the
makes her a better person. I think we all know that.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was looking for someone who had a lot of energy and looked 35. A
Look, I
lot
love
of focus
Peg, but,
on how young
like,
she looks.
she doesn't look 35, and that's okay.
I love that he thinks she looks 35 because she's gorgeous and she looks
I'm
great,
just saying
and
you
he should
can be
appreciate that.
gorgeous and not
No.
35. Like,
Yeah,
it's okay.
100%.
Like, I feel like there's a lot of people in our generation who are like, "I'm always told I look 20." It's like, you don't, but, like, that's great.
I actually do look 20. I'm the only person that that's true for. Everyone
I
else is being
personally looked worse at 20. I don't
Me
wish
too,
to look 20
actually.
again.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that about how, like, young she seemed and how energetic she was. And then he gets into the Cindy stuff and makes some, like, really harsh comments, I thought. He says that Cindy knew a lot about his background, but he didn't know about her. He didn't know if her parents were alive. He didn't know,
Did
like,
you ask?
basic I was like, "You have spent time together. You could ask some questions." She was even prompting you, like, "Do you have questions for me? Hey, are your parents alive? Go ahead, ask." Like, you are more than welcome to ask questions, but he was making it sound like he had no opportunity to even learn these basic things. We saw her ask him to ask her more questions on camera. He's like, "She knew all about me, so it wouldn't have been a leap of faith for her. It only would have been a leap of faith
What?
for me because I didn't know anything about her."
No, sir. I don't care if she knows more facts about you. It's still a leap of faith.
She probably doesn't even know that many more facts about
No,
him.
like 5 more. She knows like 5
Right.
more
She
facts.
knows she came in knowing that he played football, he's a lawyer now, he lives in California, he has 2 sons, and he went on a podcast and said he didn't wanna date women over the
Right.
age of 50 n of 60. So, like, she knows some things, but you're actually, at this point, you should be in pretty even places with how much you know about each other.
That's
You
so
could make up for
obnoxious.
that in a 5-minute conversation. You could learn as much about her as she probably knew about you coming into the show. Maybe you just haven't made an effort.
Look, if you're doing a bunch of interview rounds and they're only making people in your core audience like you less, stop.
Stop. He's like, she said, "For God's sake, there's a ring in the logo. What kind of nonsense is that? I mean, really? There's a ring in the logo, and so you've got to get married? Come on, come on. Let's just be adults. That's not going to happen. Not
Jesus
with me anyway."
Christ. Well, yeah, she figured out it wasn't going to happen with you. And then she
Right.
left.
Like, what she was saying about the ring being in the logo is that it's not crazy for her to ask about engagement.
Right.
It's actually how the show traditionally ends, and she is,
She's
in
just
fact,
saying this is a
being quite normal by
reasonable,
asking
yeah, this
about
is a
that.
reasonable question and a reasonable perhaps expectation to go into this process with. So I think it's okay for me to inquire
Right.
and understand where you're at with it.
And by doing that, she learned that they have very different timelines in mind,
And
and
that's fine.
that's fine. I think it's fine. A lot of people probably do think it's fine. A lot of viewers probably think it's fine to not want to get engaged on the show because we all live in a world where that's very unusual. But a lot of viewers are also accustomed to that timeline. And so it's weird to see the lead act like it is so bizarre and
Crazy.
unthinkable for anyone to ever do that. We watch every season and it happens almost every season.
Right.
So it's like you're telling us we're dumb. Like, we know it's weird. We also know that usually the lead comes in prepared to do
I
that
think
if
he
they
does
find
think
someone
we're
that they care
dumb.
for. I think he does, 100%. I think he's dumb because this is such a bad PR strategy. Just you can accept that people don't like you, or you can try to shift the way you're talking about things. But I don't know what the benefit is of continuing to go out here and act petulant about the fact that Cindy wanted something different from you out of this. So he's saying she's talking nonsense, that she basically is being childish. And then Peg comes on to refute the lies that she says that Cindy told in her interview with She's All Batch. But mostly it just seems like she's annoyed that Cindy is not always saying nice things about Mel in her interviews. Peg is like, she can't really know Mel, and so she shouldn't be speaking about him as if she does. So I just texted her kindly to say, you should just speak on your experience because you don't really know him. And
Okay.
that didn't get the result that she wanted. She also says that she and Mel have never, in all of their press, said anything negative about Cindy or her character,
Well,
which I
you
strongly
haven't.
dispute.
You haven't, Peg.
Right. In this very interview, he is saying many negative things about Cindy, and he has said them before, calling
He's
her
actually quite
childish.
consistently been negative about Cindy.
It's unusual to actually. I don't remember ever bringing up how negative a lead was toward his runner-up in an interview with that person,
No,
but we
because
did it with Cindy.
it's usually understood that you should be conciliatory, apologetic, take a little bit of the anger and move it along because you ended up very
Yeah.
happy.
I have never, I think, seen a lead of a Bachelor
It's
or Golden
wild.
Bachelor speak this way about his runner-up, so negatively and so critically and so contemptuously. I think it's the contempt that really gets to me. Like, she is
Same.
stupid, she's a child, she's selfish, like, any expression of her own desires or her values that doesn't mirror his is beneath his level. And so to say that they've never said anything bad about her, I thought was wild. Um, Peg is trying to be gracious, though. She's like, I respect Cindy for leaving and doing what's right for her.
Which she said from jump, and I've
Right.
always really appreciated that about Peg.
And Mel cannot stop himself from interjecting about how what Cindy did, people said it was powerful, but it wasn't powerful. She quit. I get it, Mel. You played football. You should learn, he should learn when to quit. Sometimes quitting is a good thing. Quit going on podcasts.
I agree.
Um, but Peg does say some things that like did prick my ears up a little bit, and I wish that I knew
Ooh.
what she was talking about, but it's just insinuations, really. She says she thought it was inappropriate that Cindy texted Mel happy birthday. She also thought it was inappropriate that when Cindy left the show, she said that they should keep in touch. It doesn't seem that odd to me, because maybe because I keep in touch with my ex and I text him congratulations or happy birthday sometimes, and that seems fine to me.
Cindy did mention in our interview with her that she had texted Mel happy birthday, but she didn't seem it didn't seem secretive. Like it just seemed like she was just the way you would with any other person in your life or acquaintance, like just happy birthday. Hope you're well.
I
Like
mean,
a
to
peace
me, that
offering.
I thought that inappropriate was a little bit strong for a message like happy birthday or let's keep in touch in the future. A lot of leads do keep in touch in some very like cordial but not cozy way with people who are on their show. I don't think that's odd. But then she says there's much more that she can't reveal about what Cindy has done because of their contract.
Reveal it.
Reveal it. What do you mean? How am I supposed to assess whether it's bad or not? Like, this actually, I could understand the frustration if Cindy is getting a lot of praise and flowers and attention when you think that behind the scenes she's being an evil harpy or something. Um, but by saying she's doing really bad stuff, trust me, I just can't tell you. it's trying to kind of cast aspersions on her without having to give us the information where we could assess whether we agree with your read on those things.
So it
Like, you
will
think it was super inappropriate that she texted someone happy birthday. So I'm like,
right. If the other stuff is on that level, then like I might not personally find it as concerning as you.
right, but maybe it's much worse and we just can't be told. I like to even put it out there when we can't evaluate, um, is very frustrating to me. I truly think that the bulk of the fan base is ready to move on.
Just we want everyone to be happy. At least that's how I feel. Everyone be happy, and I don't love to feel bitterness
Yeah.
towards others. Sometimes you just need to process that on your own and leave it out of the public sphere.
Well, there
But
was a whole thing about their promise ring, and he's like, "It's just a promise to each other that we'll be committed to each other." And I'm like, "This kinda sounds like what Cindy was asking about, like, will there be a real commitment?" And you're saying, "Yes, I have one with Peg, and that's really important, and it mattered to do that." So you maybe almost agree with Cindy that
no,
having
he
a ring that
doesn't. How
symbolizes
dare
a
you?
commitment. He's like, "If we didn't have that promise ring, then after the show, we could just I don't know, we could just go off and say it didn't work out and not even try to date." Oh, right, because commitment is important, even after this short process that you've gotten to know each other through.
Should we
Just
move on?
yeah, let's move on. I feel like I've already given too much time to this.
Taylor
S
Frankie Paul is back on social media.
Did she ever really leave?
No, but she's like done with filming,
Yeah.
back causing chaos. I believe they are currently shooting season 5 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Of course,
Yeah.
season 4 is being released strategically, like within the 10-day run up to
Mhm.
her season of The Bachelorette. Makes
The
sense.
synergy is
I know.
impeccable.
Hulu, ABC, Disney.
Yeah.
Yes, all together.
This is their master plan.
Mm.
The red string on the board all led to this
Exactly.
moment.
But it does mean that Taylor Frankie Paul is just like causing chaos on her social media because she
Yeah, I'm
loves
constantly
to do
seeing that
that.
she's, like, following people, unfollowing people. Like, is she friends with Dakota's new girlfriend? Are they enemies? Like,
She unfollowed her.
she did unfollow her. So maybe they're not friends anymore. One thing that I saw was that she and Michaela, her Secret Lives of Mormon Wives co-star, posted screenshots of texts between them that seemed like a spoiler of the show. Like Taylor references that everyone's getting the flu and she doesn't want to get sick before a first date.
Everyone's like a
And
first
oh my
date.
God, she's
She's spoiling the
single.
show. Guys, she has a contract. Everyone just remember, she has a contract. All the social media teasers that she has posted during filming and in the run up, they know. They
Yeah.
know.
Like this, and this is Spawn. Like this isn't like an oopsie
Yeah. This
Snapchat
is
like
an
Caitlyn and
ad.
Sean.
This is literally
This
an
is an
ad.
ad. And I can't help but think that she intentionally is seeding things that look like spoilers to get more
Of
attention on her
course.
brand deals.
Of course. That's why I'm like, we got to stop freaking out about it. Just
Yeah.
assume. Just baseline assume that's what's happening. She is savvy enough. She has a contract. She's not going to tell you who won the show accidentally.
Yeah.
Like,
No, especially not in an ad for like a cold and flu remedy.
yeah, like 4 weeks before the season premieres, or I guess 8 weeks before the
Yeah.
season premieres, whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm so accustomed to Spawn now that I clocked this
No, yeah,
immediately
you were like,
that
this is obviously SpawnCon.
because Michaela's text is like, "Oh, yeah, of course. I'll tell you my secret weapon for that." Like, and I was like, "Oh, so this is about like a product that's
Yeah.
going to help you not get the flu." This is what that is. Like,
Ding, ding,
obviously.
Ding, ding, ding. So I think we should all just baseline assume that's the intent of any
Right.
shit stirring posts. Freak out later. We saw something like in the same vein, like gossip baiting for SpawnCon with Caitlin Bristow, Becca Tilley, and Ashley Iaconetti. They made like a little teaser that looked like a dating show.
It truly looked like it was just visually a ripoff of The Bachelor. It didn't even look like a different kind of dating show. It was like the glistening driveway and like the mansion. and they
Which is
called
how
it
you
One Step
know.
to
Which is how
Love.
you know it's satire.
Yeah. And the initial teaser that was passed around was made to just look like a teaser for a show starring Caitlyn. And like, this is just a hook for people who aren't paying attention because we all know that Caitlyn has been in a relationship for a long time.
Yeah.
And
With Zach and
like,
Clark.
right, like they've been together at events. They are not super public about it, but it's been going on for years and it is widely known. So, of course, this was not a dating show. It was a campaign for philosophy.
The Spawn is just getting more sophisticated.
Yeah, that's one thing that will keep getting more sophisticated until it's like
Well, then
the
it'll just
only.
be all AI. So we'll have no need for actual humans to produce any of this content. Don't
I
worry.
do want to get to the point of the internet where it's so dead that I'm not even being influenced anymore. It's just AI influencing AI, and I don't have to be involved. I'm going to be in the woods, reconnecting with the earth. I'm going
But
to
you're
be
going to be like
walking
in an
barefoot.
underground bunker, okay? There's
I know,
going to
I'm going
be
to be in
no
the woods because
outside.
we won't have homes.
We won't
I'm
have
gonna.
woods either. What are you talking about?
There'll be
Trees?
there'll be
No,
woods somewhere. If
maybe.
there's no woods, there's no people.
Well,
Something's got to make all the
we seem
oxygen.
to be heading in that direction increasingly.
Anyway, the Spawn keeps getting more sophisticated, and our thirst for gossip is being used against us. So be careful out there.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, some rapid fire gossip about a few big divorces, engagements, a baby, all that good stuff.
And we're back. So yeah, we have a couple big non-bachelor divorces that have been in the conversation. We all know Colleen Reed and Matt Bolton from the Dallas season of Love is Blind. Season 3 are getting divorced, but she went on What's the Reality to discuss the divorce and what's been going on with her.
This was a
And
snooze fest.
it was bland.
Here's the thing. I don't think that anyone has a responsibility to go spill the tea about
Mm-mm.
their traumatic divorce or marriage. However, if you're going to do a lengthy podcast interview
Yeah.
about your divorce, I feel like you should make it substantive.
Yeah, I don't know if she was ready to do
Like
a
maybe she just needed
podcast.
some more time. Like maybe it would
Or
have been
maybe she'll
better.
never
Or
be
maybe she'll
ready,
never be
but
ready.
there wasn't much to be said. Like, it mostly sounds like she's really sad. They're really sad it didn't work out. I guess they lived together until the day that they announced.
It's
So
hard.
they waited to announce until they had kind of sorted out separate living. Then they like shared a hug. It was very emotional. They parted ways. And sounds like they still talk occasionally, but she doesn't think that they will in the long run. She says it's very hard for her to talk to him. She always ends up feeling really worried about him and really
Aw,
bad. Um,
sad.
yeah, it just sounds like it was not a compatible relationship for her. She drops a few hints that he was maybe a bit controlling, but she clearly doesn't want to get into any of that. It sounds like what she wants to put more focus on is just that they wanted different things. Like he didn't want to go out and do stuff with her.
Which, from
Like,
what we saw on the show, like neither of those things is surprising to me, right? I think there was
yeah,
a lot of people in the audience who felt, yes, some genuine concern about the dynamic in their relationship, but also just a feeling of like these two people don't seem to be the most compatible. They probably should not get married. And I
yeah.
did see like story time with Ricky and reality Ashley discussing the tidbit that they flipped a coin to decide whether or not they were going to get married.
Always a good sign.
Yeah, which is like,
Yeah.
look, I get sometimes it is hard to make a big life decision. I like relate to that in some capacity, but that does indicate that there was like a deep uncertainty on both of their parts, even heading into the marriage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she was so young and he was not much older. She was 24 and he was 26, I believe.
Her
Um,
frontal lobe, it wasn't even
yeah.
fully.
I remember being just a little bit younger than her, and I'm sure I've talked about this before. Just like I couldn't conceive of a life outside of being with my college boyfriend, and I was like, I know we have so many problems and we're constantly breaking up and, like, we're not happy, but, like,
There's no other
this is
options.
my person, like,
Right.
I why can't we just, like, make it work? And she felt this, like she describes feeling this, like, comfort and, like, compatibility with Matt in the pods that she had never found before. All her friends are, in Dallas, getting married, having babies, and she felt like she really wanted to make that happen for herself. And I can see wanting to kind of just clamp down and be like, "We're doing this. We're
Absolutely.
making it work." And then she's like, "I'm married, but he never wants to, like, go out with me or do anything that I wanna do, and we're just always at loggerheads." They had good times, they worked on it a lot, but it was just never good enough that she felt like they were ready to start having kids or planning ahead, and eventually they just had to call it.
And
Um,
honestly, good
yeah.
for them. That is like the healthy and mature decision to make. And they will both likely lead much happier futures as a result.
Yeah, and she seems like a very, like, glass half full person. She was very optimistic, but it's also clear that, like, it's been tough. She's 30 now. She really feels like a lot of her friends have moved on with their lives,
Dallas,
to
man.
I know. She's like, a lot of them, like, have kids and are just really settled, and I'm starting over. Um, it's sad. Like, she wants 4 kids. She's like, I want it to be with the right person, but, like, it's hard to feel that time passing, clearly.
Yeah, of
Um,
course. But better to call it now than wait another year.
yeah, I think she was she was like, "I didn't wanna start having those 4 kids with someone I wasn't madly in love with," and I think that it takes a lot of strength to
It
be like,
does.
I'm gonna hold out even though there's the fear that it's too late or that I won't find the person who's right to do that with."
Yeah,
So I respect that.
me too. Two other people who I think are making the right decision to separate. Amanda Batula
Yeah.
and Kyle Cook of Summer House announced that they would be divorcing. On Monday, January 19th, they posted like identical statements to their Instagram stories that read, "After much reflection, we have mutually and amicably decided to part ways as a couple. We share this with a heavy heart and kindly ask for your grace and support while we focus on our personal growth and healing. It feels ironic to ask for privacy during this time since we've always tried to be open and honest about our relationship, but your kindness and respect will go a long way as we try to navigate our next chapter. Amanda and Kyle."
Yeah, I think a lot of people in the Summer House audience have been kind of
Waiting for this?
waiting for this. There have been a lot of rumors that they were separated or living separately. On the show, they've had a lot of turbulent times in their marriage and their relationship before they got
I
married.
also just think it increasingly felt like watching them on these shows, it increasingly felt like they just wanted different things even on like a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Right? Like you
And
were watching two people not growing together, like two people growing further and further away from each other.
yeah. And I feel like whenever I started watching Summer House, which admittedly was only a couple seasons ago, I was like, I just don't get Kyle's appeal. Like,
Well,
I
he
don't
was a lot
get
older and he was more connected
sure.
and
I mean
he
more
was
that
on a
like
show.
I
Like
mean
I
I
think
mean
that was a lot of it
right, but
for
yes,
her.
absolutely. And I think what I mean is that like it just seemed so obvious that she was bringing more to the marriage
Yeah.
than him, and that it seemed like he was constantly criticizing her, trying to hold her back from things. He was saying, like, "You're not mature enough for kids. You're not ready for them if that's what you want. Oh, you want to start your own swimwear line. You can't do that because you're abandoning me and my hard seltzer
I get to
company,
be a
Loverboy."
DJ.
Yeah, well, then she's like, "Well, it's my dream, I need something for me," and he's like, "Well, I have a dream, I wanna be a DJ," and suddenly he's out until 6 a.m. every night DJing, and I'm like, "When does Amanda get to have a thing?" Like, she's given her life over to this marriage and this
His
hard seltzer
business.
company that she has done so much work for, and they've had fights over whether she even gets, like, equity in the company. Like, I was just like, "Amanda needs to leave this marriage to thrive," from what
I
I
also
could
just
see.
think it's like they didn't, again, back to the day to day. It's like he wanted to be out until 6 a.m. She wants to bed rot. Like they don't
Yeah.
want the same things. They won't don't want to do the same things.
Especially because there was a lack of trust and, like, he
Right.
had been unfaithful to her, and there were stories recently that he had done things like allegedly stay out all night at a fan's place and sleep there. He disputes the details of that and says he just like fell asleep at an after party on a couch. Those actually seem like they could be describing the exact same situation.
Absolutely. I
But
had also
regardless,
heard through the grapevine from sources I trust that they had been living separately for a while. I'd heard that there
yeah,
was an incident that broke trust also like around New Year's. And it just
yeah.
seems
I just
like,
think if you are going to have a situation where one of you is out late every night, and he's DJing and he has a high public profile and he's out until 3, 4, or 5 in the morning and you're at home in bed, the foundation of that relationship needs to be
rock
absolutely on
solid.
rock solid trust. Like you have to trust because you're not always going to be there. And you need to trust that you're not going to hear that he was like acting up in your absence unless that's something that you have mutually agreed on. And it
Yeah.
seems like their relationship truly did not have that because of his
No.
behavior.
It also does sound, which, credit to them, they are tied together in like a business way. They're on this spin-off show now together as well as Summer House. Like they do have to interact. They are going to have to continue to interact. So it does seem like a good thing that they have said that they are in like a good place and that they
Yeah.
kind of came to this decision together.
Yeah, I saw a TikTok interview with Adam Glynn. He like does street man on the street
Mm.
interviews and he ran into Kyle and asked him about it and he's like, "We're in a good place. We hit the button to publish the post together. Like we're going through it all together." And I hope that's true, but it is going to be wild to see all the like Carl and Lindsay, Amanda and Kyle, all of these formerly quite serious couples, and now they're just
They're
coworkers.
just colleagues. Yeah, well, it actually seems like Lindsay and Carl are now in a great place. Like
Well,
they had
they'll
their
yeah,
their rough seasons and now they're like,
yeah.
there's other drama.
It is
It's
so
not
funny
about
to me to
us.
have these 2 ex relationships where, like, the men are just like, "Here is my fancy drink company." Carl is the alcohol-free one, and Kyle
Yes,
is
guys,
the
Soft Bar is
hard
so
seltzer.
close to my apartment. I did go in one day just to like check it out and
Yeah.
order like a fancy coffee drink.
Oh, wait,
It's a
how
cute
was it?
space. It's a really cute space. I think it is, and I think it is being used like it is a coffee shop, but it's also kind of
Yeah.
being used as an event space. And it's just I mean, it's cute. They
Yeah.
did a nice
Listen,
job. It has
I wanna
overpriced
be
coffee drinks, but like good for him.
I
So
wanna
does
be
everywhere.
I wanna be team Lindsay because I'm a feminist and I support women's
Well,
rights and wrongs,
me too.
but as a formerly pregnant American, I believe in fancy bars where you can get good non-alcoholic drinks.
Yeah. No,
So,
I love that. I just want them both to thrive and succeed. And I have enjoyed seeing Carl and Lindsay make their way back towards a tentative friendship. And I'm very interested to see how things play out, on this season of Summer House. And then, of course, on the new spin-off show, because I do think like Lindsay, Amanda, and Kyle are kind of, from my understanding, the center
mhm.
of that new show.
Man, this is gonna be
So
fascinating. I
I
can't
think it's going to
wait.
be pretty wild to watch this all play out.
Yeah.
Okay, before we wrap up, a few more rapid
Some
fire
happier news.
announcements.
Yeah.
Yeah. JoJo Fletcher and Jordan Rogers had their baby.
Yes, they had a daughter named Romy Blair Rogers, born December 23rd via emergency C-section, which is tough, but it sounds like they're all doing well. She announced it on Instagram with the caption, "Merry Christmas to us. What a whirlwind these last couple of days have been, but in the most magical way." She wrote, "Romy Blair Rogers, you are our whole world. Can't wait to share more, but in the meantime, soaking up these moments as a new family of 3 plus 2 dogs." Which
You
are
know,
included in
yeah, you
emoji
can't
form.
erase the dogs.
Yeah. So,
Happy
I
for
mean,
them.
they're not 2 people from the franchise that I feel like closely connected to, but like, what a success story, honestly.
I
Like,
mean, yeah,
they're
you
thriving.
do got to hand it to the
You
show
do.
for these two.
Yeah.
Like they seem very very happy. And we always want people to be happy and healthy and for them to come
Yeah.
out of childbirth and be okay.
Yeah.
So we love
100%.
that. So Chris Bukowski, who was originally on Emily Maynard's season of The Bachelorette, he was like the youngin on that season, and Anna Redman from Matt James's season of The Bachelor got engaged. They live in Chicago. They've been dating for a few years, and they got engaged on New Year's Eve in Costa Rica. I noticed they were vacationing in a very gorgeous Ritz-Carlton Reserve property. I was like, what is this beautiful
Nice.
hotel? I will look it up. They'd been dating for 4 years. They're very cute. As I said
Wow, 4
earlier,
years.
Anna Redmond has been quite outspoken about everything going on in Minneapolis with
Yeah.
ICE, and she's also been posting a lot on Threads about TikTok censorship. So
Yeah, guys, get
shout
off
out to
TikTok.
Anna.
Get off TikTok. It is,
Very
like,
dark.
controlled in America by a right-wing billionaire now.
Yeah, it's really dark, and all of a sudden, anything political, at least on the left, is seems to
Yeah.
be being censored.
It's
So
actually crazy.
it's
Sorry,
crazy.
brief sidebar. I've been on Blue Sky and Instagram, every like wall to wall political posts about what's happening. You go on TikTok, I'm swiping, I'm swiping, I'm swiping, I'm swiping. I haven't seen one.
Well, they're literally, if they
They're
are
throttling
uploading, they
them.
are getting 0 views. They're being served to
It's
0 people. I've seen like a
wild.
bunch of people posting about this, but I found it very interesting to hear from like a more like fashion centric influencer. And I really
Yeah.
appreciate her voice on this. And she's been posting some really interesting videos. She's posted the stuff she was originally going to post on TikTok over on like Instagram Reels.
Mhm.
So I think that's just been really interesting. But happy for them. As I said, they've been dating for 4 years, and they were set up originally by Joe Amabile and Serena Pitt. So those two, another Bachelor success story, get some real matchmaking cred.
Yeah, I love that. They were just like, let's get another Chicago-centric age gap bachelor relationship going. This is the way. This is the model. And it worked. Gotta hand it to them.
It did. It did work. I'm happy for them. They're very cute.
Danielle Maltby, who was on Nick
Ah,
Viall's season, she's
we
been on
love her.
Paradise. We
Friend
love
of the
Danielle.
pod.
She got engaged as well to her boyfriend that I didn't know she had. They kept it
She
a
kept
little
it
more
pretty
quiet.
quiet for the first handful of months, but I did know that she was seeing someone who she was very excited about. So I think it was very much a kind of like when you know sort of
Yeah.
situation.
His name is Hallie Borgfjord. Um, yeah, and they got engaged December 30th in Chicago. And
Chicago, something's in the air.
yeah, that's where people are getting engaged, folks. Take note. And she announced it on Instagram, writing, "You are my peace. I love you forever." I just want her to be so happy.
Danielle
This made me
deserves
really.
all the good things in this world. She's a deeply wonderful person. So we are just so happy for her and her partner. He seems
And
great.
I don't know how to feel about this, but Cassie Randolph's sister Michelle has been dating Glenn Powell.
Yeah, it's so funny because I was like, when I was introduced to Michelle Randolph via Cassie, I was like, oh, who is this girl who is an actress? Oh, she stars in like made for TV holiday movies. But no, she has for the last few years been starring in the show Landman. She
Oh,
plays,
right. Yeah.
yes,
See,
Billy
this
Bob
is
Thornton's daughter.
something I will never watch.
I tried, and guys, the first episode was intriguing, and then I was just like, there's a lot of like at least MAGA light politics just baked into this. It's not for me,
Yeah.
but a lot of people watch Landman, so I was like, obviously that is how she kind of got catapulted into this like higher echelon of Hollywood social circles.
Yeah.
And I assume it is just through like industry stuff that she met Glenn Powell, and they have been reportedly dating since October, and they've just been spotted out and about together since I think November. They vacationed in St. Bart's over New Year's with a bunch of famous pals like Nina Dobrev and Miles Teller. They're dating.
Do you think do you think that they have met at a social gathering for people who have starred in shows or movies with "man" at the end of the title?
Yeah, I think
'Cause, of
probably.
course, he's famously, was the star of Hitman, and he
Among
actually
other things.
was just
Glenn
he was also in a movie called The Running Man last year.
I think that's just a
So,
whole like subgenre of Hollywood properties. Not a lot gets
yeah.
made anymore. I think if you have the word man in the title,
Well,
is actually significantly more likely to get made.
Well, as we know
They
from
love men right now.
from thrillers that get adapted into TV series on Netflix, you've got to have a wife or a man. It's either it's a wife,
Yeah.
you're good. You're going to get the female audience there. And then if not, man. And that's what the men are going to watch. But guess what? Women are going to watch it too because we don't discriminate. I do. I've never watched any of these things, but
these two are dating.
they're dating.
So
I'm so glad I could provide all of that insight.
good for them. It is just funny because I'm like, obviously Michelle is an actress. She has a career in her own right.
She's like more famous than Cassie.
Yeah, but in my mind, I'm like, that's Cassie's sister.
Yeah, it's crazy that
Like,
Cassie's sister
is dating
is
Glenn
famous.
Powell. Yeah.
Why is she even meeting these famous people? I guess Cassie took her to an event. Oh, my brain is so warped by being a Bachelor viewer.
I know.
But yeah, it's also crazy to me how much she looks exactly like Cassie. Like they're so.
Oh yeah, no, they're both like stunningly beautiful. So it's like a little hard. It's like tough to look at them too closely.
Yeah, it's like they got pasted twice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the end of our rapid fire. Little updates. I look forward to so many more by the next time we're back here discussing news and gossip. But we'll be back on Friday with this week's episode of The Traitors. So
yes, look out for that. I truly, every week, I'm like, I can't wait for the next episode. There's been a lot of teasing about episode 7. Apparently, some shit is going down.
There's going to be a banquet.
There's going to be a banquet.
We're going to see Colton put
drama.
on that vest of pearl beads with a blazer.
Wow, so much to look forward to. So on that note, that is it for this episode of Love to See It with Emma and Claire. If you're watching this on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe to our channel.
Love to See It is a presentation of Odyssey. The show is produced by us, Claire Fallon and Emma Gray. Our production assistant is Tatiana Kanice-Smith, who also edits our video. This episode was edited by John Bahar. Our theme music is by Tamar Haviv, and our art is by Aaron Nestor.
If you like our show, remember to follow us, rate us 5 stars, leave a review, and of course, spread the word to all of your friends about Love to See It.
If you want to get in touch, you can email us at claireandemmapod@gmail.com.
You can also find us on TikTok at Love to See It Pod and on Instagram at Claire and Emma Pod. And you can find our newsletter, Rich Text, on Substack at claireandemma.substack.com. I'm also on Blue Sky at Emma Gray and on Instagram at EmmaLadyRose.
And I'm at Claire E. Fallon. Special thanks to the team at Odyssey: Eric Donnelly, Peter Arriaga, Kate Rose, Moira Curran, Melissa Wester, and Hillary Schutz.
We'll be back soon, specifically on Friday.
Can you keep up?